Detroit, Michigan is where the Senators try to find whatever magic pixie dust they had for the previous 5 weeks. On Gordie Howe's 87th birthday, they try to stay alive. Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar, back in action tonight. And with the Bruins hosting Florida, they could be a point out at the end of the night. They could be 5 points out. Erik Karlsson says they somehow lost their mojo. Time to find it right now as we welcome you to Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN. James Duffy and the boys alongside tonight. Marty Biron, Ron Wilson, and Bob McKenzie. Yes, after a month of pure magic, reality has hammered the Sens from behind into the boards. 3 games without a win, now 3 points behind, and maybe time for Dave Cameron to bring out that motivational big picture speech, as in, would you have taken this position 2 months ago? Would you have taken it a month ago, 3 weeks ago? The answer would be unanimously yes. Still very much alive, but time to get hot again now. Chris Cuthbert and Jamie McLennan, get you ready.
Yes, James, they marched into the month like a lion, trying to avoid ending the month like a lamb and going winless in 4 for the first time under Dave Cameron. What's been the problem in getting off the rails here?
They've gotten away from the structure of the game. Coach Dave Cameron told us this morning that he wants a north-south game, pace to their game, putting pucks towards the net, finding that blue paint and jamming away. Too many east-west plays, too many turnovers, lack of structure in their own zone have come back to bite them. They can't look at the big picture. They've got to find a way to break the game down into segments, win those segments, and stay strong within that. Against the Toronto Maple Leafs, they got away from it. They were in terrific shape, up 3-1. They let that slip away, and that has creeped back into their game. So Dave Cameron inserts a guy like Zach Smith onto that top line, and quite frankly, he just said, I want the team to play north-south instead of east-west, simplify their game. If they can do that, they get back to the structure of their game, that will translate into success.
Big roster change for Detroit tonight. Pavel Datsyuk will not go. Dan Cleary comes to the lineup, and it will be Peter Mrazek against Andrew Hammond. James?
No Datsyuk a break for the Ottawa Senators. You know the standings right now, 3 points back. They do have that game in hand. Again, Boston taking on Florida. We'll update you on that one. The goal for tonight, anyway, would be a Florida regulation victory. They do play one more time. The 3-point game is what they want to avoid tonight between those two teams. They still have time. They still have that game in their pocket, in hand, but is it do or die almost?
No question. They can't make the playoffs tonight, but for all intents and purposes, they could get knocked out of the playoffs tonight. Not mathematically, but hey, if the Ottawa Senators lose in regulation and the Boston Bruins win, not since 1993-94 conference format in playoffs has a team come back with 6 or fewer games and made up a 5-point deficit. So the key is get a victory here and hope for the best with Florida.
Do you think the rest will help Andrew Hammond?
I hope so, because he needs to install confidence in his teammates, the way that he's been playing, making big saves. And if you look back, you know, the teams were scoring a lot of goals because they were going on offense and not worrying about the goalie who was playing. So I hope that for him and for his team, he pulls out a big one.
What else do they have to do better that they haven't done the last couple?
Well, I think Dave Cameron's going to point to discipline. They can't take bad penalties that cost them. They're on the power play, and they cost the power play. So last night, or the other night...
2 against Chiasson, yes.
Yeah, 2 against Chiasson. Who else?
Karlsson took one himself off the power play, right?
Exactly. So you can't have that. That'd be catastrophic tonight against Detroit.
I think I've said this the last 15 games in a row. Biggest game of the year. Sens Red Wings right after this.
Our starting goaltenders are brought to you by Scotiabank. You're richer than you think. Scotiabank. Andrew Hammond back in. First time since being pulled on Thursday against the New York Rangers. The road record, 7-0-1, 1.10 goals against, and a .966. He faces the former Ottawa 67, Peter Mrazek, in what is somewhat of a surprise start for the Detroit Red Wings here tonight.
Got to keep an eye on this gentleman right here, Gustav Nyquist. Such an explosive skater, tremendous skill. And he's going to pace this Detroit Red Wing group in the absence of Pavel Datsyuk.
So the Sens try to regain their mojo in Motown tonight. They start Jean-Gabriel Pageau along with Eric Kondrup and Curtis Lazar against the top line for the Red Wings with Henrik Zetterberg centering Nyquist and Abdelkader. Our keys to the game brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL.
If you're the Ottawa Senators, play with structure. Get back to that north-south game that Dave Cameron has been preaching. And if you're the Detroit Red Wings, limit turnovers. This is a team that plays so strong in their own zone, but they've been giving away pucks lately that have cost them goals. So Coach Babcock will be talking about limiting those turnovers and going the other way offensively.
There's a turnover right in front, and the puck is slid wide of the goal as Condra with the takeaway and a shot wide. Now played ahead, and Nyquist, who got that overtime goal against Ottawa, the 28-second off the puck beauty on the ice in the Ottawa zone. Abdelkader's been the hottest Red Wing of late with 10 goals in his last 14. Here's Nyquist with it. Sends it toward Hammond, who steers it aside, and away goes Condra. Line mates start to change as Lazar went to the bench. Here comes a shot from Stone and well out beyond the blue paint. Mrazek to make the stop with traffic in front of the net.
It's a nice save by Peter Mrazek. Gets himself into the game early, but you see Mark Stone come right off the bench, and late for coverage is Zidlinski, and Stone gets a terrific shot towards the net. Mrazek steps out, challenges, and he's able to corral the rebound, but it's a good opportunity early in the game, 1 minute into the game, as Stone is able to walk right in off of a change.
Mentioned it was a surprise that it's Mrazek in that he was hooked after 4 goals against on 11 shots Sunday against the New York Islanders, and just about everybody thought it would be Jimmy Howard back in tonight.
I agree. This is a huge statement for Coach Mike Babcock, going back to Mrazek. And Jimmy Howard has struggled since he has come back off of injury. There has not been a lot of stability in net, and they need a save. They need some consistency in the net. Coach Babcock said this morning that he believes Mrazek can give them an opportunity. So he's given him not only the opportunity, but a chance to run with the ball here if he can respond off that soft last game and have a good one here against the Senators.
Mark Stone won the draw. Here's Carlson, no shot. Drew Miller's in some difficulty off that faceoff, and he rushes right to the bench and down the tunnel.
Yeah, he was in some distress, and you can certainly see there's blood on the ice. He jumped right up and skated right off it.
There was no call, Jamie, excuse me, but now the officials are going to huddle to see if the two linesmen might have seen what happened there.
Well, this is the right call. You go and you talk to the 4 sets of eyes that were on the ice here, and you can see right off the draw, Miller steps in, and it's actually a skate. Mark Stone's skate is going to come up and catch him, and you can see Drew Miller waving immediately to the bench. And you hope that he's all right, because as I mentioned, there's some blood on the ice, and it was just a harmless battle. Stone reaching in for that, gets tripped up, skate comes up, and
boy, that's scary to see.
It is scary. You hope that Drew Miller is all right. That's just, it's really it's a defenseless play, and it's an accident. And bigger picture is, you know, you wonder how bad it is.
Goodness.
Oh, it is very scary to watch there. And, you know, luckily he's wearing a visor. Maybe that helps limit the damage.
And fortunate that we don't see more like that, but
yeah. Well,
and Miller went straight to the bench, straight to the room.
and you can see him motioning with his hand like, get out of my way, I'm in some trouble here.
Jonathan Erickson ahead at center ice, picked off by MacArthur to Stone back in. Dropped for Turris. Tried to play it for MacArthur going to the net. That was cut off by Zetterberg. See if this is the matchup that Mike Babcock wants. The Zetterberg line out against the Kyle Turris group as Nyquist plays it ahead. A return pass in the direction of Nyquist. Too far. Now he ties up Mathot. Mathot has his stick tied up, and Zetterberg comes up with it. Now Quincy was wheeling at the line. No pass there, and it's Abdelkader. Taken away by Carlson. And now Ottawa will move it out.
That's great work by Erik Karlsson to close the wall off on Abdelkader. That didn't allow the Red Wings to get the cycle going, and they were able to exit the zone.
Zach Smith is back in the lineup and on a line with Bobby Ryan and Mika Zibanejad. Those two without points in the last 3, and a lot of focus on them turning their game back around here. Zach Smith with a shot, and then the rebound gathered back by Mrazek.
Going back to the skate right there, as we get a good look at Mark Stone just reaching in, trying to play the puck, gets tripped up on the play, and Miller reaching in, doesn't even see that skate coming up, and he immediately knows he's in trouble and jumps up. Unfortunate accident. Again, your thoughts are just with Drew Miller, hoping that he's all right. And, you know, the worst or the best case scenario, you hope that it's maybe just a superficial cut.
David Legwand out with Chiasson and Hoffman. Fourth line for the Senators gets its first look, and an icing call against Detroit.
We'd like to give a special thank you to our friends at AT&T for providing the first
Chris, you talked about Zach Smith going on that top line, and Coach Dave Cameron talking to us about just the straight line hockey. His first opportunity out there, just a shot down the wall towards the net, just trying to force his line mates almost just to play less east-west, less extra passes.
David Legwand, the former Red Wing Detroit native, wins the faceoff. That's Legwand with it behind the net. Watched there by Brendan Smith. Zidlitsky takes a bump, gets it to Tatar, who leads Detroit in goals, and the puck flipped out to center. Stopped there, and a slick pass to Chiasson, and an eye-high shot that's caught by Mrazek, and he'll hold on.
Alex Chiasson gets the puck, and it's just everything to the net, and you can tell that this Ottawa Senators team has been preached upon just to play that straight line hockey, shoot off the rush, and jam that blue paint. Mrazek makes a good save off of that because there is no second opportunity because he catches it. But early on, you see the Senators trying to funnel everything towards the net to create scoring opportunities.
So the message has been received early on.
So far, we'll see. That is the challenge for the Senators group.
Red Wings offside. Let's check in with James.
The other game all Sens fans are watching, Florida and Boston. Late first off a turnover. Louis Eriksson, patience, and over Roberto Luongo. Bruins up 1-0 after one.
So Ottawa trailing Boston by 3 with the game in hand. The Bruins next up against Detroit. So a win tonight by Ottawa in regulation would get them to within 4 of the Red Wings. And Boston and Detroit playing each other on Thursday night.
And there's so many what-ifs, though. The one thing you have to focus on is getting the points that you can achieve, and that's
your job,
right? Exactly. Do your job, and other things will fall into place. And when you start getting into that scoreboard watching and wishing and hoping, that's when you're in trouble.
Here's Carlson, a right-wing pass for Condra. Into the middle for Lazar. They added an assist for Curtis Lazar in the game against Florida, so he now has a 3-game point streak. Up at center ice, Pulkkinen over onto the right side. And glove stop by Hammond, who has not been busy in the early going.
Here you see the battle for that final wild card spot, and the points that Boston, Ottawa, and Florida have. Games remaining, road and home games. And as I mentioned before, Chris, yes, it's about taking care of what you can control. And certainly the Senators are in pretty decent shape if they can get the points that they can achieve in certain situations. So, you know, you're going to keep your eye on Boston and Florida, but if you don't win key games like this in regulation, you're not giving yourself an opportunity.
Here's Clark MacArthur busting out along with Stone. Stone to MacArthur, and unable to redirect that. MacArthur felt the back-to-back was a little taxing, just back in the lineup after missing 18. Thought he might have a little more jump tonight. We're going to get power play for the Senators. Kyle Quincy hotly disputing this call. But before the 5-minute mark, the Senator power play.
Gets an interference call. Kyle Turris. Turris over top of his stick, wins that stick battle, and then gets inside position, reaching in for that puck, but Anna O'Rourke doesn't believe that he has possession of the puck, and this is earlier in the play. Clark MacArthur driving the middle of the net, showing his speed. That's what he needs to continue to do as he works his way back into game shape on the fly with the Senators.
After Sunday, the law of averages would suggest that Ottawa might get a power play courtesy of an interference call after taking 5 themselves against the Panthers. That's the first time a team's taken 5 interference penalties in a game in 5 years.
I thought it was a little bit strange, and I thought there were a couple soft calls. And certainly you can make some calls running picks and stuff. Detroit is notorious for running picks in the offensive zone to create space, but the fact that you got 5, it was almost like the refs were trying to make a quota up, but had a little fun with that at their expense with Bill McCrary after the game. And bigger picture, the Senators have to stay out of the box.
There's Weirkosh along with Carlson at the point, trying to sift it through. Knocked down by Brendan Smith, up to Abdelkader. And out comes one from Anderson. He'll push it down towards Hammond. And this power play will reboot a minute in.
Chris, it's about getting the puck to the blue paint. Dave Cameron told us this morning, the power play, it's not rocket science, just pass and shoot and jam away.
MacArthur swings it back to Carlson, who is the best at getting it to the net. He passes off. Turris in the high slot. Stone looks for MacArthur. MacArthur up high. One-timer, Carlson, rebound, Stone, and a pad stop by an outstretched Peter Mrazek.
What an outstanding save here by Peter Mrazek on Mark Stone. Robs him. He's able to track the puck early on. Puck's going to go high. MacArthur with a nice little saucer play on Helm to get Carlson the puck. It comes through a screen. Mrazek fights it off at the right pad with the initial save, and Stone in position to get around him and jam it short side. And you see Mrazek, the flexibility to get to that post to keep it out. That's terrific work by the young goaltender.
31 seconds remaining in the power play as the puck was dropped and the Red Wings cleared.
And Chris, you're talking about law of averages. If you work the puck to that blue paint, get opportunities like that, you're going to have success. That was real good work by the Senators on the PP, and when you force a goaltender to make a save like that.
Here's MacArthur in, pad stop, kicked out to the line by Mrazek. He looks sharp in the early going. Carlson looking for Stone on the right side. Good stick there by the veteran Cronwall. Red Wings get it out, chip back in, delayed offside, and the penalty done.
You didn't score on that power play opportunity, but you get 3 shots and 3 quality opportunities towards the net. You can use that for momentum so far to know that you're in the game mentally.
Here comes Brendan Smith. That shot is blocked. And the Senators clear back to center. Chiasson in pursuit. Sedlinski to the far side. Marek Sedlinski at 399 career points coming into this game. Mathot looks for it behind the net. A couple of Red Wings on the scene, but Mathot plays it to Hoffman, who lost it. There's Nyquist. Tied up there by Mathot. And it's up ahead for Legwand off his stick. And the Senators begin to change. Nyquist dashing in. There's Nyquist sailing it wide. Darren Helm unable to come up with it. And outskates Pajot. 3 goals in his last 5. He'll drop it off. Weirkosh sends it toward the net. Off the stick of Mrazek. First time Mrazek's played the Senators, the senior team in the city where he played his junior hockey. A former teammate of Cody Ceci with the 67s. Tipped in by DeKaiser, and now Lazar will go after it. Nice big pass ahead to Condra, who flicks it in.
Chris, there's been great pace to this first period so far. The Senators clearly have gotten the message from Dave Cameron. They're using their legs, they're skating, and everything is a shoot-first mentality, and so far that's what they've been able to get their opportunities with.
Here's Pulkkinen taking a swat at a bouncing puck. We're 8 minutes in. Before the game was 10 minutes old on Sunday, Red Wings and the Islanders were tied at 3.
Not a goaltender's dream, I tell you that.
Here's Pulkkinen, and the play offside at the Senator line. Shots are 7-1 in favor of the Senators, but Peter Mrazek's been sharp so far.
Mr. Hockey celebrating his 87th birthday today. And in honor of that, fans who came to the Joe tonight received a Gordie Howe bobblehead. Gordie isn't here. He's actually celebrating in Texas with his family. They plan on taking him fishing today as his health has improved so much from a year ago. As for the bobbleheads, all day people were asking me if they could have mine, including Senators players, but I've had to watch mine all afternoon to make sure I had one available for tonight's broadcast. Of course, I need one after all. Quite a resemblance to Mr. Hockey. Guys?
Yes, 87 years of age.
It is. It's a great story.
Four-time Cup winner, 23-time All-Star, six-time Hart Trophy, and 1,850 NHL points, which isn't bad.
Not too bad. And you know, everyone you talk to has a Gordie Howe story. Mine included that when he had retired, he came back and he took warm-up with our team in the minors. He buried one shelf on me, and I was bearing down like underneath the bar. It was pretty impressive.
He was too.
Yeah, I know, he was bearing down. It was pretty impressive. It's so neat to be around a legend like that.
He was involved in one of the Legends games at an All-Star game, and I was in the dressing room beforehand. Here's Turris with a shot, and a dangerous chance there from the high slot. Anyway, you're in the room talking to the old-timers, and I got elbowed by him, and I thought, that might be the coolest moment ever in the dressing room. Even the press guys get elbowed by Mr. Hockey.
He wasn't shy with those, I'll tell you that.
Clark MacArthur sends it to the net. Mrazek down, the puck is loose. And finally, play is stopped as the Senators continue to send pucks towards Peter Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek has been sharp, and Kyle Turris is going to get an opportunity again off the rush. The Senators do a very good job of using their speed through the neutral zone, and both D back off of the Red Wings. That just allows the lane towards the net. Turris gets a pretty good shot away, and then again, just MacArthur, no option, throw it to the net. Look for redirections, look for rebounds. Mrazek paddled down in that butterfly, able to corral it, but you can clearly see the thought process of the Senators early on.
Zibanejad won a face-off. Ryan shot, hit a skate. Zibanejad has it again. Tried to swing it to Ceci. It does arrive. He'll play it in, and there's Ryan. Trying to get his game turned around again. Pretty candid about how unhappy he's been with his play. Here comes Tatar. Tatar over the line, and good back check there by Ryan. Heading south that time to make a defensive play. Now up the board, Zibanejad, an outlet, and Wiercauch ahead. He'll slide it in, and this one just reaches Mrazek as Zach Smith was unable to catch up.
Urban Attitudes from Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Live life comfortably.
Well, the Red Wings have been a high-scoring team, but there's been the issue, and a lot of it has been focused on the goaltending. It's not always the goaltender's fault.
No, but you saw my keys to the game. The Detroit Red Wings are having too many turnovers that lead to high-quality chances in their own zone. That's uncharacteristic of them, and that leads to goals against.
Brendan Smith with a shot that goes high. Along the boards, and the Senators get it to center. Pajot reaching and knocked away by Cleary. Dan Cleary back at center, just his fourth game of 2015. And that puck off the stick and up onto the netting.
Chris, you talk about Dan Cleary drawing back in, and it's tough to get your legs underneath you. He looked a little bit slow and heavy-footed in the neutral zone there as he worked to get back to the puck. And I've said this a million times. Doesn't matter how hard you practice, nothing replaces the pace of the game, in game shape. And you can see it's going to take him a couple shifts as he's breathing pretty heavy there to get back into the high pace of what the Senators have set. I think they've had real good tempo early on in this first 10 minutes.
Boy, they won another face-off. The shot drilled wide by Carlson. It'll be played out. Here's a chance to Tatar, and he grazed the goalpost. Thomas Tatar off the post on a hot shot flying in on the left wing. Best chance so far. Now a turnover, and Hoffman trying to dash back. Mike Hoffman in, and Mrazek a stop as Hoffman was hounded from behind by Eriksson. And they're going to call the play dead at the line after both teams have chances. First shot for Detroit. Game of the first minute. Special moment here during the break as they announce Mr. Hockey's 87th birthday, and he gets a standing ovation from the sellout crowd at JLA one more time.
Oh, as he should. Legend, and it's just amazing. Every time you think of him, it brings chills to you. I mean, the fan base loves him so much. Everyone in the league loves him so much. It's a great story, and somebody that is revered so dearly in the league.
Just going to break mention, just one shot for the Red Wings. Tatar off the post, but the lone shot on goal came at the 49-second mark. So it's almost been 10 minutes without a shot for the Red Wings.
That's because Ottawa's set the pace to this game, and they've done a very good job of turning pucks over, being strong on pucks. And you don't give up shots when you're on the offense the whole time.
Now trying to find a way to beat that former 67's goaltender. Maybe here. Stone in. Stone, and somehow Mrazek got a piece of that. Mark Stone's had a couple of glorious chances.
Mrazek tried the poke check there and ended up going wide as Stone just shoveled it wide.
Zach Smith with a big hit on Polkinen. And back comes Turris. So Ottawa winning races, winning battles. Just haven't broken through them for the game's first goal. Back comes Zetterberg. Henrik Zetterberg wide on Wierkosh. Denies the pass. Zetterberg gets it back. He'll swing it back into the corner. Nyquist is on it. Nyquist to pass. Look for Zetterberg. Intercepted by Smith. Ryan on the far side, unable to get loose.
That was good work by Zach Smith defensively to turn that puck over. He's at least been an impact player on this shift so far, with the physicality on Polkinen, and then good defensive play to help go get out of the zone.
Now Condra hounding Darren Helm. And Helm with speed, and not many are faster. Over the line, sprawling shot is steered away, and now one into the glove of Hammond. Gets a feel of the puck here just over 12 minutes in.
Mark Stone's going to get a terrific opportunity as Turris is going to find him in alone. A bouncing puck, he takes it from backhand to forehand to backhand. Mrazek at the last second poke checks him, and then Zach Smith, as I talked about, physical on Polkinen, turning that puck over, finishing his check, as he's getting an opportunity on this top line with Zibanejad and Bobby Ryan.
Stone's had a couple of chances for goal number 20 on the year here in the first period. If he hits 20, it'll be the first time in NHL history two players on the same team drafted beyond the 5th round have scored 20 each in their rookie seasons. Part of the young development of this Senator team. These two teams lead the league in points by players drafted by their club.
And Chris, you talk about how teams are built nowadays, and there's no quick fixes. You and I were discussing before the game, it's about doing it through the draft, doing it properly, and the Red Wings are known to do that, and Senators are doing it the right way as well.
Let's check back in with James.
And check in on the beginning of a Florida power play. Brandon Peary has his first shot blocked, pass, patience, gets it back, and his 21st goal of the season to go with 2 assists, tied at 1 in the second.
Cy Young numbers get better for Peary.
Yeah, well, you see Mike Hoffman aiming for 20 goals this season. He's got it, but Mark Stone with 19, Zibanejad with 19, Bobby Ryan. That you spread out the offense quite nicely from each line, and that's a tribute to the depth that the Senators have right now.
Red Wings have 5 20-goal scorers. First time that's happened since 2009, which, by the way, is a team that Mike Babcock compares his club to. He thinks this is the best Red Wing team that he's had a chance to go far with since 09. Here's Hoffman out of the zone. Chiasson missed the pass. Carlson tried to chase it down, but Sedlinski gets back.
And we didn't even mention that Erik Karlsson has 20 in there. It doesn't hurt that your high-scoring defenseman is doing a good job and help generating from the back end.
One more, and he'll have a career best. MacArthur got a piece of that pass, but it does end up in the Ottawa zone. Tatar jostled there by Ceci. They continue to battle. In is Turris to help out. Puck loose. Glendening a shot, and that went off his teammate in front of the net.
And that hit Yurko, and he's heading right to the bench.
Here comes Turris in the slot. Stone, and another pad stop by Mrazek, who's had 61's number, although Stone didn't get all of that.
Stone's had 3 good looks towards the net.
And back to the attack again. Mark Stone onto the left side, back in towards Mrazek. Makes the stop. And out come the Red Wings. Nyquist over the line. Abdelkader. Hammond makes the stop. Played back in towards Andrew Hammond and cleared by Turris.
Good save by Hammond on Abdelkader. Hammond hasn't been tested very much, and that's where you need a save at the right time, because Ottawa's had all the chances and Mrazek's done a job. Your goaltender needs to make one or two to keep you in the game, and Abdelkader gets a good look at the net. Hammond makes a real solid save.
Hammond, no stranger to playing here as a collegian at Bowling Green. Had a memorable playoff game here. Also played his first ever NHL action against the Red Wings, a relief effort last year when he kicked out all 11 in a 6-1 loss, but said it really helped him to get his first NHL experience out of the way. Centering pass, Lazar swept it across the front of the net on a second chance. And the Senators doing everything but score in the opening 15 and a half minutes.
Chris, there's those turnovers again by Detroit rear guards. That's something that Coach Babcock has been frustrated with this group, because you can blame it on goaltending, but if they score there, that's a bad turnover in your own zone.
And great forecheck by the Senators here in the first period.
Absolutely, and you have an opportunity in the offensive zone. You see Curtis Lazar shaking his head as he's frustrated. He got two opportunities to slip one right through the crease on the play, but that's just real good work by the Senators on the forecheck, limiting time and space.
Pajot right from the draw. Now the thought whistles it wide. And the Senators have generated some scoring opportunities off offensive zone face-off wins. Carlson back in, and Mrazek's going to hold on to that. Under 4 minutes remaining here in the opening period. And the shots now are 12-3 in favor of Ottawa. I mentioned Andrew Hammond, no stranger to the Joe, where he turned in a magnificent collegiate performance, 55 saves for Bowling Green against favored Michigan. One shy of a CCHA playoff record. Unfortunately, it was a 3-2 overtime loss, but
sounds like he did everything he could to deliver the win for his team.
One of the finest performances of his career.
When you talk about comfort levels in certain buildings, obviously he knows he can play well in this building.
Hoffman trying to center it with Legwand at the top of the crease. Very familiar with the building and the live boards that you are so familiar with, and a goaltender has to be wary of.
Everything that misses the net's going to come right back out to the front of the net, and Detroit does such a good job of shooting off the short side that allows it to come right out front for rebounds and tips. So the goaltender certainly has to be wary of that.
Puck sent in behind the net. Red Wings come up with it. It'll be played back to Cronwall, who scored Sunday. Fires it, and Hammond through a screen, able to block her that away. Tatar's pass picked off by Stone. And away go the Senators. It's Turris trying to cut in. Kyle Turris in front. And MacArthur's shot hit Erickson in front.
Kyle Turris has done a terrific job of using his speed in this first period to generate chances.
Boy, that line combined leads the Senators in goal production by line, and probably leading scoring chances in this first period.
Mark Stone alone has had 4 good looks at the net. The last one was a redirection on the short side, but Stone must be frustrated that he can't find the back of the net on Peter Mrazek, who's done a real good job so far.
I think MacArthur's had a couple too.
Yeah. Goaltending for Detroit has not been the problem in this game. If anything, the Red Wings have not done a good job in their own zone.
Almost a turnover by Weirkosh, gets it ahead, and here comes Zach Smith over the line. That hot shot whistles past the ear of Mrazek. Out comes Nyquist, good pass to Zetterberg. And onto the right side, a return for Zetterberg. The Red Wing captain tries to throw it in front. Abdelkader takes over. 23 goals for Abdelkader, career high before this year was 10. Weirkosh works over Zetterberg. Nyquist in to help out offensively for Detroit. Swings it back to Zetterberg, who wins the battle against Weirkosh. Sets up behind the net. Abdelkader trying to get loose in front. There's Ryan helping out. Bouncing puck, and a high stick's going to halt play and bring the face-off outside the line.
Andrew Hammond a little bit more busy here as the period goes on. He does a very good job of tracking the puck through a screen. You've got bodies in front. He's able to fight through it. You see the depth outside the blue paint. And then I talked about earlier, Kyle Turris using his speed and his body position to get that puck to Clark MacArthur, and doesn't get it towards the net or a shot on net, but Turris generating that by using the quick feet.
Now Helm sends it wide of the goal. Curtis Lazar trying to play it out, is able to do so. Condro was stopped up by Tatar, and it's off Helm back into the Ottawa zone. Hammond saying after a couple of days rest and treatment, the back feels much better, and it was an issue. Not that he was saying it, but I think the Ottawa personnel convinced that the back issues on Thursday bothered Hammond enough that they had to get him out of the game against the Rangers.
Well, at that point when the score is out of hand, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense to keep him in. Big picture.
Centering pass, and Hammond had to be sharp there with Glendening on the doorstep. And Hammond makes his sixth stop of the period.
And he makes it look easy because he's in good position off the post here. You mentioned Glendening gets into that soft area as they're not able to close on him quick enough. And he gets enough to put it towards the net, but Hammond, strong on that post, takes it in the chest and is able to corral it with the glove. Just good positional save there by Andrew Hammond.
Brent Wallace reporting earlier. 50 family and friends in attendance here to watch Hammond tonight in the Detroit area.
That's tough when you've got that many people that you care about in the stands. It's different when they're watching at home, you forget about them, but the fact that they're actually here, you certainly want to put a show on.
Jamie, good news here before the period ends. We're told that Drew Miller did not suffer any eye damage. A couple of deep lacerations on the face, but no eye issue after that scary skate in the face off that face-off play with Mark Stone.
I was hoping that that was the best case scenario, that, you know, it's stitches and no structural damage to the eye or anything else, and well, that was an ugly incident, and we're glad and hoping that he recovers quickly.
What a terrific period for the Senators. Don't have anything to show for it because Peter Mrazek was outstanding, making 13 stops in the opening frame. So we're through 20 minutes. Scoreless here at the Joe. Let's check back in with James Duthie in the panel. If you joined us late, early in the first period, Drew Miller, clipped by the skate of Mark Stone, went immediately to the Red Wing bench and to the dressing room, and once again, we're happy to report just a couple of lacerations on the face, but the eye not damaged, although doubtful that Drew Miller will return to the game. Our first period scoring summary brought to you by Metro Ford Dealers of Ottawa. 13-5 the shots, and the shot attempts 27-10 in favor of the Senators in a dominant first period.
Talk about dominance. Mark Stone was outstanding in the first period. 4 or 5 good opportunities towards the net. He was skating, he was driving hard, he was using his line mates, and no better chance than that on Peter Mrazek as Mrazek outstretched the right leg, but defensively, in position, turning pucks over. Now, he did everything that period other than put the puck in the net, but if you continue with that type of effort, you're going to find the back of the net. Mark Stone has been a pacemaker for the Ottawa Senators, especially in that first period. We'll see how it translates into the second.
Pajot line starts once again, and different configuration for Mike Babcock. Stephen Weiss has moved to center between Tatar and Helm in place of Dan Cleary. So Weiss, who scored a pair of goals in an earlier game against Ottawa, back in a more familiar position. And Jamie, you spent some time with him today. He'll be happier in the middle. Here's a chance for Pajot, and that's up off Brendan Smith and out of play.
When you take a look at what he's been able to do, and yes, he didn't have a healthy season whatsoever last year, so you lose your spot in the lineup, and it's been a struggle for him to find that consistency this season and actually win back the trust of Coach Mike Babcock. Scored a couple goals earlier in the season against the Ottawa Senators, but in talking to him this morning, it's about confidence, but it's also about opportunity. And Chris, you mentioned you get placed back in that center ice role. We'll see if he can make a difference for Mike Babcock's group.
Babcock sent out Anderson for that face-off in the defensive zone. Joachim Anderson had been 6-0 in the face-off circle, but just lost that one to Pajot, and Mike Babcock's going to make another change.
Well, you have to make a change, and you know Babcock is a master of moving things around. Here, again, you win the draw, and instead of trying to make a fancy pass, Weirkosh just pinches down, throws it towards the net. Good job by Mrazek to corral it, no rebound.
So now it's Glendening in, the third face-off of the period. Detroit finally prevails, but Ottawa back in. Lark MacArthur had a pair of shots in that period, along with the 4 by Stone. Puck out to center, Mathot, Carlson, right back into Detroit territory. Stone finds it at center. Across to Carlson to the attack with MacArthur. There's Carlson swinging it in front of the net. Picked off by Pulkkinen. He had it taken away by Turris. Forward battle, and Ottawa's on it. MacArthur in the fray. Puck popped up, and Glendening claims it for Detroit. Thomas Jurko on the left flank, and that shot goes wide and ricochets back out to center.
Again, the Senators in good defensive posture. 3 guys back on that play and nothing dangerous towards the net.
Look out here, though, as that puck nearly was loose for Nyquist. A shot from De Keyser goes wide. And Zach Smith plays it ahead. That got caught up with the linesman, and turning back is Nyquist, along with Zetterberg. And the puck wide of the net. Zetterberg's on it. Taken to the boards by Gryba. And the Senators start back. Here comes Zach Smith over the line. Puck swung across by Ryan to Zibanejad. Zach Smith went straight to the net, causing a disturbance. It'll be held in by Gryba. Borowiecki in behind the net. Mrazek comes out to play it. Gus Nyquist, and there's Borowiecki crashing down. Caused the turnover, and Smith sweeps it right on goal. Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN is brought to you by the 2015 Toyota RAV4. Let's play.
Chris, that last play where Zach Smith threw it towards the net there, that's a play, the difference where if you're playing a little bit more confident. He had Zibanejad going hard to the net. You could have actually taken a step and made an offensive play, but that's just a challenge for a guy like that who's not used to playing in that top 6 role in those valuable minutes.
And with the message being, get the puck to the net,
yeah, exactly.
over and over again.
You don't want to get busted making a pretty pass or trying to attempt that, but that's a difference. Maybe a guy like Mike Hoffman would have been able to saucer one in, or at least try and create a more offensive play on that one.
Now the Red Wings have Pulkkinen backhanding it deep. Weirkosh back to get it. Puck knocked down by the Red Wings. They'll hold it in. Weiss goes after it. Weirkosh will try this near side. Banks it out. Stretching it. And Chiasson unable to catch up with that. Sent around, and Leguan's going to come up with it. Here's Leguan. The Red Wings were changing. In behind the net. Hoffman looks for it, but the Red Wings are able to move it. And away goes Glendening. Put it in front of the net. Mathot is there. And Lazar starts back. Pajot takes over. Pajot will roll it towards Mrazek, who lost it, and Lazar got a chance. He'll play it back to Carlson. Carlson shooting, and that's turned away. So Mrazek unable to freeze the puck, and it gives Ottawa a couple of opportunities.
And you don't corral it, all of a sudden you get 2 shot attempts towards the net, and you're forced to make a big save, and on a bouncing puck, that's, you got to be able to do that, because Senators could have capitalized on this situation.
Well, you see the confidence of Pajot and Lazar increasing in the last couple of weeks.
They're handling the puck a lot more, and with more efficiency, trying more things, and it's not about being risk takers, but it's about using their skill that got them to the National Hockey League.
Mark Stone knocks it down at center. There's MacArthur playing it inside the line. And Quincy sent it to the line. They rule it came out. MacArthur gloving it down from outside the line, which puts the play offside.
You talk about the bouncing puck. Mrazek can't control it. Lazar gets inside position, gets a good shot away. Now the puck goes back to the point. Carlson walks the line, and Mrazek's forced to make a good blocker save off of a real bobble puck, and that's just Mrazek's mistake. It almost cost him.
So there, the goal scoring by the lines as Dave Cameron has iced them tonight. Pretty good balance through it.
It is good balance, knowing that you can place any line out there and get some production, or trust them to get production.
24 solid minutes, but no production yet. Borowiecki's lost his stick. That's Weiss up with the puck. Cleary on the wing now, as the Red Wings try and press the issue. Bad stanchion bounce for Detroit as it ricocheted right to Zibanejad, trying to go to the attack and unable to take the return feed. Now Kaiser sends it back in.
It was good work by Borowiecki to close off the boards and be heavy again on Stephen Weiss. That closes off any opportunity towards the net.
Puck out in front, and there's Zach Smith to scoop it away. 5 minutes into this second period, the Red Wings have not registered a shot. And that puck sent down the ice, deflected into the corner by Hammond. Pulkkinen's on it. Glendening picks up the chase. Glendening was on the ice for the overtime winner in that Bowling Green game when Hammond made 55 stops in a 3-2 overtime loss. Here comes Tatar. Tatarian, shot blocked, and the rebound cleared. MacArthur starts back. Turris has speed. Turris dropped it off. Nobody home. Look out. Back the other way. Abdelkader. Nyquist. Shot. Scores. Costly turnover. 1-0 Red Wings.
It really is. And Dave Cameron talked about the east-west plays, the hope play. Kyle Turris is just going to try and pop it back for support, but there's a change going on. Now it's a 2-on-2 situation. Abdelkader's going to drop it back. Nyquist takes a lane for himself, and he's able to beat Andrew Hammond on that blocker side, changes his angle. It's a terrific shot, but it's a costly turnover in the neutral zone that ends up coming back to bite you. And we talked about how strong Ottawa's played all night long because they played straight line hockey. That's an east-west play that comes back to bite you.
Kyle Turris is going to see Nyquist in his nightmares. He was tracking Nyquist when he scored that overtime goal, and now Nyquist has his 25th of the year.
Well, you give dangerous shooters an opportunity towards the net, and it was good work by Abdelkader to push off the D. And then Nyquist gets into a better lane, and he's able to beat Andrew Hammond over that right pad on that blocker side. It's so tough as a goaltender to defend going cross body, and Nyquist knows it. It's almost like that Mark Messier play back in the days, and now the Senators are chasing the score.
Third against Ottawa for Nyquist this year. That's his 18th at home, and number 25 on the year after 28 in a breakout season a year ago.
Now you look for a response from the Ottawa Senators. You give up one, but you need to continue on with the consistency of the pace of your game. Wear the Detroit Red Wings down because you have been the better team so far in this game.
Hoffman after it. He was taken down in the corner. Still looking for the puck as it squirts to Weiss, who sends it out to center. 5:43, the time of the icebreaker for Nyquist. Abdelkader the assist as the Red Wings have the lead. Here's Borowiecki in front, redirected by Condra across the goal mouth. Condra trying to hold the zone. Backed up there by Pajot and then flicked past him and out to center. Off Yurko and down the ice, and Hammond out to play it. Here's Pajot. Borowiecki. Couple of good passes, now flipped into the zone. Lazar has it batted away by the veteran Zidlitsky.
Be interesting to see how the Senators respond to this. This is where you have to have that mental toughness and not change your game plan and try and score that goal immediately. Continue to wear them down.
Bobby Ryan takes over. You can hear Abdelkader's upset. Thought he was interfered with. No penalty call on the play. And Abdelkader's got the puck at center. Back in he comes. Zibanejad trying to stay with him. Takes him out along the boards behind the net. Big Abdelkader stays on the puck to the point. Now Quincy sends it deep. Around it goes, and Ryan will claim it for the Senators. Bobby Ryan lost it, but chipped away by Wierkosh and out to center.
That was a good play by Patrick Wierkosh, just using his long reach to poke that puck away for an opportunity towards the net.
Nyquist back in, plays it across. And then got taken into the boards heavily by Borowiecki.
Nyquist is in some trouble as he skates to the bench, and that was a big hit by Borowiecki on him to finish his check behind the net.
I think Borowiecki felt it too. Looked like he was trying to get to the bench, won't reach there. And now the puck played back in. Borowiecki reacted as if maybe there was a penalty, but I think it's just the fact that he's feeling the effects of the collision. Eriksson. Now the puck loose. And out at center ice, here comes Stone. Over the line, absorbs a hit. Works in behind the net. Mark Stone, point Mathot. Shot. And that hit traffic in front off MacArthur wide. In comes Carlson. Around he goes. Takes a lap. Penalty upcoming, and Mrazek a stop. And now MacArthur tangled up with Jonathan Eriksson.
Well, Eriksson's going to get the initial call on Clark MacArthur, and then he engages with MacArthur, who turns around and stands up for himself, and then that draws a crowd.
So the initial call to Eriksson, still a fracas developing as Cleary and Mathot exchange shoves. And it looks like there'll be more penalties. And Mathot with one more shot. See if that's costly. Nyquist has given Detroit the lead. We'll find out if Ottawa has a power play when we return.
Detroit penalty number 11, Kane Cleary, 2 minutes for roughing. Detroit penalty number 52, Jonathan Eriksson, 4 minutes for roughing.
It's just an incorrect number on the board. Eriksson gets the double minor, an extra penalty. And it is a power play as Abdelkader takes the shot, shorthanded, and Hammond gloves it down. So the second power play of the night for Ottawa after a decent-looking open man advantage where they had 3 shots on goal.
They had 3 opportunities towards the net, but Mrazek was the difference, and so far he's been very strong. Here a short-handed opportunity. Wierkosh takes away the outside, step to the middle. Hammond's able to corral it. When you get a good look at it, it's a good job by him not only to be in good position, but to make sure that there's no rebound. Yes, it's unfortunate that there's a draw in your own zone, but that's where winning draws is so key in a game like this, is to gain that possession and get on the hunt on the power play.
Senators' power play's been in a bit of a funk. They're 23rd in the league. Detroit gave up 3 power play goals against on Sunday on Long Island. So MacArthur, Mathot, Cleary, and Eriksson all get the roughing, and an extra penalty to Eriksson that has created this power play. Helm was nearly away, and they have to be wary of the speedy Helm as a short-handed threat. Around it goes. That's knocked down neatly, and here's a pass for Carlson, who backtracks. Wierkosh. Into the corner it goes. Zibanejad looks for a little space. Side of the net. Ryan out in front. Poke checked away. It'll be Chiasson taking over. In low. Now up high. Patrick Wierkosh shot is blocked. And that breaks the stick of Anderson, so maybe a little more room here. Erik Karlsson sends it across, looking for Ryan. Back to Wierkosh. Karlsson. Helm breaks it up. And he's going to clear, and that'll get Anderson to the bench.
That's great work by Darren Helm, as he knows that his other forward, Anderson, doesn't have a stick. You could see them collapse from the box to almost an I formation to take away the middle, knowing that they're down to 3.5, and they do a really good job on puck pursuit and clear it down to out of trouble's way.
Penalty done. Tatar was serving the minor. He steps out. No shots on the second power play. And the Red Wings continue to lead 1-0.
Bobby Ryan on the power play. Coach Dave Cameron told us this morning, he said, the focus of the power play has to be attempts at the net. It doesn't matter how it gets there, it just has to get to the blue paint. Ryan had an opportunity in this last power play. Puck's gonna come around, closes it off. Nice little move. Now he gets an opportunity to look towards the net. No, he wants to throw it back through the middle. That ends up getting turned off. It ends up going 200 feet. So instead of a shot into the blue paint, a shot on net, you're making an extra pass. And that's what Dave Cameron has been focusing on with this group, saying it doesn't have to be a shot to score, but get it down there. And most of the goals in the league now are being scored from that blue paint.
Chiasson parked in front.
That's a prime example of getting it down there and jamming away at rebounds. And guaranteed in the video room, that's what we're talking about to Bobby Ryan.
Ryan without a goal in his last 5, 1 in 13. For a guy who's had pretty good success against Detroit, 11 goals in 26 games. And we've got a penalty pending against Ottawa.
Going to be a hold on Eric Gryba.
Kevin Pollock makes the call. Gryba hits the gate.
Coming up the wall, he's going to get that right arm in on Henrik Zetterberg. And anytime your hand comes off the stick and you can clearly see, I mean, the ref's in terrific position to make this call. You reach in. A lot of times you need to push and poke. You can't put your hand and lay your hand on another player and hold on. And obviously, the ref's into position to make that call. And that's another tough penalty for Eric Gryba. He had a tough one last game against Florida as he gave the forearm shiver to Huberdeau, and that cost them as well.
Red Wings 0 for 8 in the last 2 games. It's the first time since mid-February they've gone consecutive games without a power play goal. Second best in the league, so Senators playing with fire, but up with the puck is Cody Ceci to send it down the ice. 30 seconds in, now Tatar has it knocked away by Mathot. Maybe a break for Stone. Here's Stone in, watched by De Kaiser. Swung it toward the net, and Stephen Weiss will claim it.
Stephen Weiss getting some power play opportunity.
Now Helm over the line. Lost it, Ceci there, and Mathot pushing it ahead for Turris. Stone out at center ice. Takes the pass and gives chase down in the Red Wing zone. So they've killed over a minute. Back at the controls is Zetterberg. Into the zone. Here's Zidlitsky moving in. Centers, and Hammond gets crashed into. That's going to be a penalty, as Andrew Hammond was taken out by the captain Zetterberg, who doesn't like the call.
That's the right call, because Andrew Hammond makes a very good play being strong on the post here. Zidlitsky throws it out front. You can see Zetterberg makes no opportunity to stop.
And Borowiecki doesn't take him in.
No, not at all. And you cross-check and run the goalie right through the post. Had Zetterberg gotten contact and put that in before he runs into the goaltender, then maybe it's something that you take a look at, but that's clearly goaltender interference. It's the right call. The ref's in the position to make the call, and now you've got 4-on-4 hockey for 44 seconds.
Red Wings dangerous in this area, outscoring their opponents 9-4, 4-on-4. But the Senators will try and get through it, maybe take advantage of it themselves, and then get an abbreviated power play at the end of it. Starting with Ryan and Zibanejad. Zibanejad after it. He'll knock it in and give chase against Nyquist. A couple of Swedish players battling behind the net. It'll be played to Mathot. Across to the other side. Ceci with a shot, an easy glove stop. Mrazek holds on. We'll join hosts Ian Mendez and Gord Wilson after every home game for All Access. Presented by Bell, live on the Sens website and mobile app.
Chris, that was great work by Mika Zibanejad on the forecheck. Nyquist is strong on his skates. Zibanejad wins that physical battle and helps create a shot on goal just by using the lanes.
Karlsson a shot, hit a leg in front. Mentioned that Mrazek was chased on Long Island, but in his previous start year, he played the Lightning, so Peter Mrazek's got a home shutout streak going. Senators now back at full strength, and now they'll get this power play organized. Karlsson leads the attack onto the left flank for Turris, just a bit too far. An outlet, and that puck will be cleared by Kronwall. Under 6 left here in the second. Gus Nyquist has his 25th. And now the Senators trying to answer on a power play. Off Wiercauch. MacArthur into the corner. Checked by DeKeyser. Wiercauch will move up. Fakes the shot, gives it to Turris. Centers it. Now back to Turris, off his stick. Wiercauch across. Karlsson returns it. Turris is up high. Takes the drop. Takes the shot. Loose in front and knocked wide. Karlsson in deep comes up with a nice play by the captain. Erik Karlsson, another good move. Wants to center. Anybody home? Now plays it behind the goal and up top for Turris and Wiercauch. Karlsson again. Shot. Mrazek the save. Turris on it. Penalty over. Still pressured. Centered, and that shot up. Karlsson goes high as he misfired. Turris knocked down. Another penalty. Another power play upcoming as the Senators' heat creates another Detroit infraction.
Danny DeKeyser's going to get a cross-check on Kyle Turris.
So under 5 remaining in the second. Back with an Ottawa power play.
Kyle Turris, who hasn't had his best game so far this night, does a terrific job on the power play. Wiercauch is going to drag the line. You see how high Turris is on that blue line to give him an opportunity to go laterally. Turris with a good shot. Redirection by Stone in front. Mrazek forced to make a good left pad save. If Kyle Turris creating that lane for himself, that way he's able to walk into a really good shot and a great opportunity on the power play.
Fourth power play of the game. David Legwand won the draw. Here's Zibanejad. Pass broken up by the reach of Eriksson. And away goes Glendening. Glendening. And he runs over Karlsson, who cut him off at the pass. Back comes Ryan. 5 shots so far. Senators 0 for 3 with the man advantage. Looking for the equalizer here. Just over 4 minutes to go, second period. Legwand, Zibanejad. Up top, it's Karlsson across. And takes the return feed from Hoffman. Zibanejad shot right on, and the rebound gets past Ryan and is cleared.
And Mrazek is barking at the ref. He felt that he took a slash after the initial offering by Zibanejad. It's a good save. He wasn't able to corral the rebound, but he was in position to make it.
Turris from MacArthur. In they come to Hoffman. He'll flip it deep. MacArthur after it against Brendan Smith. Turris there tried to hit the point, and it was broken up along the boards by Anderson. Hoffman, pass into the skates of Karlsson. Back the other way, the speedy Helm. And Hoffman makes a great defensive play. Cutting off Helm at the pass with a good stick.
It was good work by Mike Hoffman. If he would have had a better saucer pass to Karlsson, Karlsson would have had a wide open lane. It ended up hitting him in the skates, and Hoffman was forced to make a good defensive play.
Now Hoffman tees and fires. The glove stop. One of Mrazek's best of the night.
Collects a crowd in front, but Mrazek does a terrific save. Tracking that puck through traffic, and you can see him talking to Brendan Smith there as He was late to pick it up because Smith was in the lane. He did a good job of making a glove save, and Turris kicking it wide. Comes right back to Hoffman. Hoffman gets all of it, but it comes right by the left leg of Smith, who tries to block it. A lot of times the defenseman gets in that no man's land where they don't get a piece of it, and the goaltender has to track it as it comes by him, and Mrazek makes a terrific glove save.
Another face-off win in the offensive zone. The shot wide, held in by Zibanejad. 15 seconds of power play time still available. Ceci, Ryan, traffic in front, Zibanejad hit the side of the net, loose, and they can't get it to the net as Wiercauch had trouble with the bouncing puck. Wiercauch up top, penalty done, penalized player back. Wiercauch around behind the net, it goes from a bad angle. It was played to the side of the net, and taking over Zibanejad. Still pressured, Zibanejad turned around, Ryan fired, and that hit a leg, goes high into the air. Back again, Ryan, another shot off a leg. Couple of Ryan chances blocked. Now that hits Zach Smith in front of the net. He's jostling away as the play is finally moved down the ice.
They've done everything but put the puck in the net, and it's going to take a moldy goal to beat Mrazek, maybe off a leg or a seeing eye shot. He's gotten
moldy, I like that.
A little moldy, but here it's going to take something where it's a redirection or a bad play as Mrazek is locked in. Right there, it comes behind him, fights it off, and you can almost see the Ottawa Senators tiring themselves out by putting shots towards the net. Now Mrazek's having a game, certainly getting a lucky bounce here or there, but he's creating his own luck with some terrific work, and faithful here in Detroit are loving it.
Shots 10-3 here in the second period, but Nyquist has the lone goal. Back in come the Senators. Lazar taken into the boards. It'll come back to McLeod. Fires right on. Look at how far out Mrazek was. Beyond the blue. Condra was in behind him as he got knocked down, but Mrazek on top of his game. What a redemption night it's been for the 23-year-old.
He's had a response, and Mike Babcock went with a gut feeling and certainly paid off with him.
In behind the goal, Nyquist buffeted there by Mathot and taken down heavily. Strong play by Mathot. Fans here respond, but the officials don't. Erickson tries to center, and Ottawa's away. Erik Karlsson out at center. He gets hit there, and Condra comes in and knocks down Zidlinski. It's heating up here.
Certainly, it's been an emotional period so far, and Senators have done a terrific job. They've made one mistake, and it's cost them, but outside of that, they've carried the play.
Red Wings have gone almost 10 minutes without a shot on goal. That puck off the glass, but stays in. Condra backhands it to the corner. Here's a chance, Chiasson, and another quick pad stop. Chiasson drives the net and drives the Red Wings crazy and gets a response. And a big one in behind the Detroit goal.
And you know, Borowiecki's right in there.
This is kind of a reverse of Jamie McLennan in his last visit to the Joe.
I don't know about that, but that's one of those nights you want to forget where you end your career on the...
You took exception to a lot of traffic.
I did.
In front of the Calgary goal.
And I made a mistake and had to pay for it, and still paying for it because people constantly remind me.
Sorry about that.
Here you see an opportunity. Mark Mathot, a heavy hit on Gus Nyquist. He's looking for a call, but and here's how the last reunion of punches started, as Chiasson took it hard to the net and took exception. Big crowd behind the net,
and as Chiasson getting the only penalty, he really didn't reach the goal before De Kaiser, and him started the fracas. So the referees send the message they
Coach Dave
want the goaltenders protected, but in that case, I'm with Dave Cameron, a little surprised they didn't take both.
Well, it's interesting. You usually the ref likes to come in and send a message and grab one guy, but I think there was a lot of punches and grabs and stinky gloves handed out, and you get a slashing penalty out of that, and maybe it's Chiasson just chopping away right there at the glove of Mrazek that started
the call, and that did initiate, so the stick on glove enough to sit Chiasson down, and now an important kill for Ottawa. Last minute, second period, Krybop with it. He'll send it down. Again, the Red Wings over 10 minutes without a shot here in the second period. But a Nyquist shot has provided all the offense so far. Zetterberg's pass off the leg and back out. Dozen seconds left here in the middle frame.
Chris, you mentioned the shots are 25-9. Senators doing everything but find the back of the net on Mrazek, and he's been outstanding. But this is where they can't get discouraged. The message in between periods, if you can get through the next 7 seconds, is kill this penalty off and don't change a thing, because eventually you're going to wear him down and find the back of the net. But Dave Cameron was not happy with that call on Chiasson.
Face off at center. Cody Ceci's got the puck, and the clock will drain. So the shots in the second period, 12 for the Senators, 4 for the Red Wings. But Peter Mrazek, perfect through 40 minutes with 25 saves and 5 consecutive shutout periods at home. 1-0 Red Wings. Here again, James Duthie.
Wow, could easily be 3-1, 4-1 the other way, but isn't. The panel standing by to tell you their thoughts on the first 40 minutes. Marty Biron, Ron Wilson, Bob McKenzie, and we'll show you how the Panthers went up 2-1 on the Bruins, but the Bruins have tied things up. Details forthcoming.
And here, James, our second period scoring summaries brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. 4 shots for the Red Wings, and the goal by Nyquist. And Detroit will start the third period on the power play. Peter Mrazek has been the story tonight for teammate of Cody Ceci, and Sean Monahan with the 67th. Pretty impressive graduating class there.
Certainly is, and Peter Mrazek has been the story so far for the Red Wings. And as I mentioned in the second period, the Ottawa Senators do not need to change anything. Generate these high-quality chances towards the net. The law of averages, you're going to get 1 or 2. Bottom line is, you keep chipping away at him, you can wear him down, and that's exactly what they're able to do in the second period. They just couldn't find the back of the net. Mrazek's been a difference maker so far. We'll see if he can hold up in the third period, as the Senators are going to make the final push to try and get 2 points on the road.
Home shutout streak of 115 minutes and 4 seconds. He ended Tampa's streak of not being shut out for 126 games. The shot attempts through 40 minutes, 47-21 in favor of Ottawa. And again, the third period begins with Chiasson in the box. An important roadkill ahead for the Senators, trying to keep it a 1-goal game as the Red Wings advance, led by Kronwall. A drop that was nearly costly. Condra couldn't reach it. Nyquist in for Abdelkader. Broken up by Krybop and cleared by Pajot.
It's good work not allowing the Red Wings into the zone with any type of control. You close off the boards and you get the puck down, kill 20 seconds off the clock.
And they drop to the trailer, Nyquist. In they come with Tatar on the right side. Zetterberg also up front. 4 forwards as Abdelkader manning the point. Puck loose, side of the net, and chipped wide. Abdelkader's on it. Now a chance for Turris to clear, and he does.
Good job again by the Senators, closing it off, limiting time and space, and the Red Wings unable to get a good opportunity on Andrew Hammond. You kill off these last seconds of the penalty. Now you have to go 5-on-5 and push that pace up again.
It's gone final. Boston wins it 3-2. So temporarily, Senators 5 back. This and another game in hand.
where you can't scoreboard watch. Take care of what you need to, and that's this game. And guaranteed the players are going to spot that on the out-of-town scoreboard while being on the bench. And should use that as motivation enough, but this group has played well enough. It's just got to find a way to solve Peter Mrazek.
Back at full strength, Zibanejad on the ice. Nearly had a steal in the Red Wing zone. Detroit up with it, and they'll fire it down to get a change. 2 minutes into the third. Weirkosh at the wheel. He'll backhand it deep. Turris, MacArthur, and Stone. The line with the most chances at even strength so far tonight. Around it goes for Timo Pulkkinen. Out with a pass to Anderson. Joachim Anderson chasing it down. Turns it over. Weiss in front. Chance, and Eriksson shot. Hit a leg in front. Mark Stone back. Up ahead to Turris over the line with MacArthur. And Ceci trying to spin the shot toward the goal. Knocked down, but kept in. Here's Turris. Stone shot. Mrazek the stop. Sweeps it away. Turris up with it. Back to Ceci. Trying to beat his old teammate, but the shot off the leg wide. Ceci seals the boards. Stone knocks it free for Turris. Can't turn against Kronwall. Strong play by the veteran Kronwall, but not out as Mathot moves up. Turris looks for it. Stone finds it. Centered it. Back it comes Karlsson. Penalty upcoming. Here's a bad angle shot, and that's off the post. Turris tried it from the side with a delayed penalty. It'll be Karlsson. Bobby Ryan, the extra attacker in front. Mrazek, what a stop off Mark Stone.
When Mark Stone looks to the sky, he's visibly frustrated as Peter Mrazek makes his best save of the night on him on a one-timer. But this is some great work down low. Puck goes towards the net. You can see the penalty, Stephen Weiss on Mathot. One-timer, bad angle, hits the side of the net. Come back to the point again. Good job by Karlsson kicking it wide into that soft area, and then the one-timer, Stone comes back against the play instead of going blocker side, and Mrazek able to rip it out of the air.
14 points in March. There's Mrazek fighting it off again with heavy traffic in front.
To access your coupons for exclusive savings at participating Canadian Tire locations, visit OttawaSenators.com/SendSave.
It's been Mrazek's save so far tonight. Mark Stone with 6 shots on goal.
And all of them high quality
chances, maybe even more.
I would say 5 in there given the redirection at the end of the first period, but Mrazek's had his number, and that's where you have to continue to chip away. It's gonna, as I said earlier, it's gonna take a moldy one to beat him.
There's Hoffman across, the one-timer, and that's off a stick to the corner. De Keyser and Abdelkader get it out.
The thought process here on the power play, just one pass, hammer away at the net, and continue to wear this penalty kill down.
Hoffman with speed, deep into the zone. Ryan far side, Karlsson point. Mike Hoffman in a good spot, shot. Gets his own rebound. Karlsson across, Ryan, Hoffman, and that off a skate. He was in a great shooting spot, and that went off the skate of Kronwall.
Hoffman got a good look, and you're right. The right skate or the right shin pad of Kronwall potentially saved a real good opportunity towards the net.
We were in the shooting line. That looked like it had a chance to go.
It did look labeled.
Abdelkader back out. 33 seconds remaining. Hammond was going to leave the net, stayed in there. And now Erik Karlsson back to work. Turris. De Keyser lost his footing. Mark Stone. Blind pass, reaches Weirkosh. In behind the goal, chopped at. Turris along the boards. Hopped on MacArthur. Kyle Quincy scooped it past Karlsson. Covering is Weirkosh. And the Red Wings get it out. That'll do it. Weiss back out. 30-10 the shots. And remarkably, the Red Wings continue to lead.
It's been the Peter Mrazek show.
Here comes Pajot off the side of the net. Dashing in, playing it back. The thought deep, Condra. Watched by Zidlinski. In to get it, Lazar. Pajot, the thought. Back deep, and there is Zidlinski with it. He'll leave it behind the net. Mrazek will help out. Ceci stepped up, trying to hold it in, and does. Here's Lazar. A pass for Ceci, and Zetterberg able to come up with it, and then nearly a break for Tatar. But Lazar scampered back in a hurry.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There was a lane there for Tatar. Just a fan play as he could have been in alone.
So taking a few chances now as they may have to. Legwand with the steal. Legwand looking in front. Hop in. And that blocked. The rebound doesn't get through.
And there's those turnovers again by that Detroit defense.
And another. Chiasson can't find it in his skates. Legwand lost it. It rolls to Mrazek. Well, if Mrazek's not making the stops, the defenders in front are. And the frustration starts to build here. Lots of pressure, and now lots of frustration. Visit the Senators Facebook page after every win to vote on the Marks man of the match. And on the face of Mark Stone is the frustration of a guy who's had 7 shots, all kinds of chances.
He's frustrated, but if he sticks with it, he's going to get one. But it's just that Mrazek's had his number, and like you say, he's wearing the frustration right now.
Not just that, and you know it's not on his mind, but why is it a 20th goal is tougher to get than 18 or 19?
I mean, you have no idea how it works, the hockey gods out there, but they're making him work for that 20th, and he's going to get it.
Right back to work.
I don't know if he'll get it if Mrazek has anything to say about it. Boy, he's been outstanding in this game. He's had a couple lucky plays, but outside of that, he has given himself an opportunity to make every save. He's been right on it positionally.
Get a chance to talk to a lot of the scouts in this very cramped press box at the Joe, and more than a couple just volunteered how impressive 61 is on the ice for Ottawa. It's a familiar refrain for Ottawa Senator fans, but the word's getting out about Mark Stone.
Yeah, leading the league now in takeaways, and terrific defensively, but just a real treat at 200-foot game.
Dropped it for Turris, who fanned on the shot off his leg. Stone gets it back, looking for Carlson. Carlson swinging across off the stick of Glendening. Thomas Tatar trying to get away from the checking of MacArthur. Played back by Kronwall. Red Wings and Senators now in the midst of a change as Helm brings it out. Just celebrated the birth of a daughter in a newsworthy fashion. Young Riley Helm was so excited to get into the world that she arrived on the highway on the way to the hospital last week.
That stress, playing in a playoff game or in a big stretch game like this, that's nothing compared to having to go through that, giving birth on the highway. Watch your wife go through that.
Mom and Riley are okay, and we think Dad's recovered, but
you never know. I can't imagine that. Had a tough enough time being in the room.
Here comes Yurko over the line with Cleary. Fourth line for Mike Babcock. Getting a shift here, but Senators up with it. Scoop to the line. It comes out. A wrap back in by DeKeyser. Approaching 9 minutes here in the third. Ryan with a slick move. Then gets poke checked inside the line. And Zetterberg takes over. In the Red Wings tonight without Pavel Datsyuk. They have been outplayed, but Ottawa has not been able to outplay Peter Mrazek yet. Zetterberg to the attack. Hounded there by Zibanejad on the back check. Centering pass, and Hammond has to make a stop.
Good save by Andrew Hammond, who hasn't been tested this much very much this game whatsoever, but you have to make solid saves to give your team an opportunity to hang in there.
Second stop of the period for Hammond, and I believe the third in the last 20 minutes.
This is when your focus gets tested. Andrew Hammond has proven so far that he's a pretty mentally tough athlete to go through what he's been going through the last couple months and take it with the humble attitude that he's had, and done a terrific job.
Here's Mathana shot, loose in front and slotted wide. Traffic there again on Mrazek. Legron centering pass off a skate out. Still playing at a pedal to the metal pace. The Senators are as we pass the midway mark of the third.
Nice little redirection that ends up going wide on the blocker side of Mrazek, but again, it's just, Chris, you talked about the shot attempts and everything towards the net, trying to wear down Mrazek.
Now Stone turns around Yurko. Stick got caught up there, and it's going to be a penalty. So the Red Wings get a call. Stone argues the call, but Ottawa will be shorthanded when we return with 9:34 left here in the third. The first meeting of the year, Detroit won the second, and then Gus Nyquist won the game, the third meeting in overtime, and he took a lot longer than he did tonight to score.
Single-handedly, just decided to go for a little pond hockey skate. 30 seconds were a couple laps of the offensive zone. MacArthur giving chase, Cowan, Turris.
This is just showing off.
It really is at this point. And speak to the skill level of Nyquist as he finishes it off the post and in, just under 28 seconds worth of work. He's a skilled, highly skilled player, and Detroit's got a real find in him.
Critical penalty kill upcoming for the Senators. Zetterberg's pass intercepted there by Pajot. Really got hooked by Zidlinsky, but is able to clear it.
Imagine getting a skilled player like that in the fourth round.
Oh. Red Wings have made a habit of that, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
Zetterberg fires it wide. There is Nyquist. Lost it. Chopped to the line, but held in. Comes across for Kronwall. Zetterberg. And the pass back to Kronwall. Leaked back into the Detroit zone. Mark Stone in the box. Has a minute remaining in his penalty. Pass at center. Intercepted by Lazar, who turns it back. Zidlinsky ahead and got past Zetterberg and rifled out by Pajot.
Really hasn't been a great game by the Red Wings outside of Peter Mrazek. They haven't had any flow and any good looks towards the net.
There's a shot that drifts wide, picked up by Tatar. Red Wings goal-scoring leader placed to the far side, and now back around. Detroit on 12 shots. Their season low is 18. And here's Pajot with 20 seconds to go to the attack. Here's a chance, and Condra's shot is blocked. Comes up with it again. Back to Wierkosh. His shot. And that is up onto the netting and out of play. So the best chance was Stone in the box. Goes to the Senators.
That's great work by Condra and Pajot. Again, to turn pucks over, go on the offensive. Eric Condra is so strong as far as with his patience. Throws it towards the net. Pajot driving. Now a little fake play. Going to hold on to it. Throw it back to Wierkosh. Looking for a lane. It hits a leg in front, but that's just great work by Pajot and Condra to create something out of nothing and get an opportunity in worst case scenario, kill off precious seconds on the clock.
Jonathan Ericsson lugs it out. Penalty done. Stone is back on the ice. An important roadkill, but now 7.5 minutes left to get on the scoreboard. Glendening twists and turns. Leaves it for Cleary. Far side out of the reach of Yurko. And now Yurko up with it. And a shot that Hammond was able to stop. Looked like a little traffic impeded his view.
I almost think it hit Dan Cleary in front too, as Cleary had gained inside position, but Hammond does a good job of fighting through that screen. And the Red Wings are getting an opportunity. As I said, they hadn't had too many dangerous chances outside of the Nyquist goal, and get a good look there.
Don't know what Mrazek's food of choice is, but this is some kind of burglary tonight.
It is.
If it stands up. Hoffman on the forecheck, trying to come up with it. Joachim Andersen turns back away from the traffic. Red Wings out to center. Bobby Ryan there. So Hoffman with Ryan and Zibanejad as Dave Cameron tries to get something going.
This is where, like we say, Zach Smith started the game there. He knew that Mike Hoffman was going to get an opportunity to elevate. It was a good jolt for him, and Zach Smith helping with that north-south game of that top line. But as the game gets down to the nitty-gritty, you're going to need skill out there that can finish.
Lazar battles along the boards. Now Ceci comes up with it. Condra off the boards, tried the bank for Lazar. He gets bumped away from the puck. Red Wings move it off the boards past Ceci. And this is going to be an icing call against Detroit. Well, our player profile is brought to you by Asante, providing complete financial advice tonight. Our focus is Patrick Wiercott.
And in talking to Coach Dave Cameron about making him a healthy scratch, he just said that the schedule and the minutes caught up to him a little bit. It's nice to give him a night off and get him right back in. Wiercott has played very strong, but challenge for him sometimes is quicker to pucks, quicker with decisions with the puck. Give him a one night off where he can sit back and watch the game from up top, and then you insert him right back into the lineup where he's been playing. And he's done a very good job. I'm a fan of his. I think that he's a good puck mover. Sometimes he looks lethargic, but that's just the way that he plays, and it doesn't mean that he's not putting in effort. But Dave Cameron challenging him a little bit, just saying get quicker to pucks, quicker decisions. Maybe you don't come out of the lineup.
Carlson sends it wide. MacArthur couldn't field the pass that was behind him. Tatar back in. Zetterberg, and that shot stopped by Hammond as Tatar drives the net and draws a response from Wiercott and company. Canadian Tire Senators Hockey on TSN is brought to you by Bell. Hockey just got better. By Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Ottawa Senators. And by Scotiabank, you're richer than you think. Scotiabank. 5:12 left here at the Joe. Still 1-0. On the goal by Gustav Nyquist in the second period. 32-15 the shots. Favor the Senators, who have had the best of the play all night long.
They've had high-quality scoring chances, and Mrazek's made a couple terrific saves, especially on Mark Stone. In the first period alone, 2 10-bell saves, one with the right pad, and then in the third period here, the glove save coming across to the seam play on the power play. Those are saves that you put in the memory bank and think it's the difference in the game.
Try to avoid going winless 4 games for the first time under Dave Cameron. There's Condra getting escorted. Lazar in the middle of it with Brendan Smith, who's one of the few Red Wings who will drop his gloves. And even through that, Lazar is smiling.
The smile is sometimes agitating.
Yes.
So you hand it out and see if somebody will punch it off of your face.
Here's our game story brought to you by Molson. It has been pretty steady pressure all night long. But Nyquist's goal standing up, and we have to revisit it. This was not the expected decision in goal tonight. Peter Mrazek was lifted after the first shot of the second period on Long Island. 4 goals, 11 shots, with the opportunity to take the reins.
Coach Mike Babcock comes back to him and gives him an opportunity, and I think that speaks volumes of where he's at with Jimmy Howard since he's come back from the injury.
And if the Red Wings are to extend their playoff streak to 24 consecutive years, it's starting to look like Peter Mrazek will be the goaltender to start. Still a lot of work to be done before that decision's made. Zetterberg counted by Hoffman, had to turn back for it.
Going back to it, Chris, these are those crucial games where you are trying to solidify a playoff spot, and that's where you go with the guys that you want to get into a groove for the playoffs. That's why it was, for me, it's a big decision by Mike Babcock to go with Mrazek over Jimmy Howard, because to me, you're trying to get your starter in shape for the playoffs. And if Howard was your guy, you would think you would try and play him to work him out of that funk that he's had since the injury.
Coach's decision looks like a brilliant one right now. MacArthur fired, scores! Game tied with 4:02 left.
Spoke too soon, but this is a great play off of a one draw, another one draw here by the Ottawa Senators. Kick it back, Stone gets into the lane, now MacArthur hammers away, and Mark Stone makes this happen because skates right across the view of Mrazek. Mrazek gets a chunk of it, but not enough, as there's big bodies sliding across, and it goes through the body and trickles in, and MacArthur with a terrific goal, as the Senators have chipped away at Mrazek all night long, and they're able to tie it up with just over 4 minutes left.
First goal for Clark MacArthur since January the 13th. Of course, he missed 18. Third game back. Took a hit in Toronto that was a little unsettling, but was able to continue. Felt he was out of gas back-to-back on Sunday against Florida, but here he is with just over 4 minutes to go with one of the biggest goals of the year for Ottawa.
And you mentioned that it's been a while since he scored. He's looking to get his game timing and his legs back underneath him, and it's just terrific work. Nice little play by Carlson to draw people towards him and get it to MacArthur. But then, as I mentioned, Mark Stone again going to the front of the net. Gets right in the eyes of Mrazek, and he's unable to track that puck. The Senators tie the game up.
And Jamie, they've won 64% of the draws in the Red Wing zone tonight. And Detroit is the 8th best team in the face-off circle.
And the Senators are the 24th at 47.8%. So that's such a key, especially on the road with Mike Babcock, who likes to have his matchups, likes to have guys out there that can win draws, and the Senators have done a terrific job, as you pointed out, in the offensive zone.
So MacArthur from Stone and Turris, 15:58. And it just seemed inevitable. The 33rd shot is the one that finally beats Peter Mrazek.
Well, they haven't changed their game plan, and that's a tribute to how this Ottawa Senators team has started with it, their game plan, and stuck with it. They haven't gotten away from it from a consistency factor, and that is great work by the veterans in the room, and it's a response game. You see Mrazek at the last second trying to look past traffic. He doesn't get it cleanly, and it goes through the arm and the body and trickles into the net.
Third goal for MacArthur against Detroit on the season. And this one ends Mrazek's home shutout streak at 131.02. And it extends the Senators' streak without being shut out. The only team in the league this year. Mrazek ended that stretch for Tampa, the other team that hadn't been shut out until their last meeting on Saturday against Detroit.
And you've got to find a way to get points tonight, and chipped away at it. Now you have 2.5 minutes from at least getting one.
Boston has one tonight. So Ottawa's still pressing here, needing more. But that may be a season extender for Clark MacArthur. Zibanejad now going after it along with Ryan, and Ryan's on the puck. to the point. Carlson shot, and that's knocked down, and Nyquist comes up with it.
That hit Mike Hoffman in front, and he skates right to the bench. He's in some pain. It looks like it hit the back of his left leg, and he's getting attended to on the bench.
It did not have any weight on the left skate as he went off. Puck turned over at center. Stone trying to gallop in. Played to the line, but held by Carlson. Here's Carlson backhanding it through, knocked down into the corner. And the Red Wings on it under 2 minutes to go. In fact, 100 seconds left in regulation time. Abdelkader can't get loose. Carlson sweeps it to the right wing. MacArthur to Stone and in. Kyle Turris with a big face-off win after wearing the goat horns on the Detroit goal with that drop pass that didn't work. Moving up is Borowiecki, shooting wide, and it will boomerang back all the way into the Ottawa zone. Greivis strides back to get it. Plays it up onto the right wing, out of the reach of Condren. Hammond had to be quick on that as Tatar flung it in from long range.
He needed to be a shortstop there. That took a nasty bounce, and that is just terrific response and reflexes here by Andrew Hammond. Tatar just throws it. You see a bouncing puck, and the last second it's going to jump up, and Hammond's able to rip that out of the air. And those are, we've seen a lot of those goals, or those shots go in the league this year as it handcuffs the goaltender at the last second. Andrew Hammond, who hasn't been tested much in this game, with a real good save in the last minute of it.
Puck out of play, 55 seconds left, and you can relate to a tough night when so much is at stake and you're not very busy.
No, and you're watching the goaltender at the other end get bombarded with shots and scoring chances, and then a play like that could be a back-breaking play, and Hammond up to the task.
Face-off won by Glendening. Tatar can't sift it through. Helm has it chopped away from him to the line and out. And now it's Condren to the attack. Overskates it. Cronwall plays it back to center. That hops past Carlson, and Hammond out to dish.
When you look at who's out in the last minute,
doesn't that tell you something? And here's Pajot dashing in. Almost had a lane open up. Now Lazar in after it. Pajot turns it over. Back to Pajot. And it's Lazar! He just missed. What a chance. Condra centers and is sent back out with 10 seconds left. What a chance for Curtis Lazar, who's had a hot stick in the last week.
Well, it's that third line again that continues to cause havoc. Great work on the forecheck and almost a finish there with the game on his stick where Lazar just misses the glove side.
60 solid minutes for the Senators. And Clark MacArthur's goal with 4:02 left gets at least one. One more at stake here at the Joe tonight. Clark MacArthur's 14th of the year has sent us to overtime in Detroit tonight.
Well, it's been great work here, and you look at the second period that didn't go so well for Kyle Turris. East-west play that ends up in the back of the net, and you turn the puck over in the offensive blue line. Now you win an offensive draw. Turris does a good job with that. Stone gets to the front of the net, and Mrazek doesn't get a clean look at it, and you see how excited Mark Stone is to help make that play happen. And the Cards are with a first goal since January. With a relief in his face, and Senators get a key point, and now they have to go over that second one because, as you pointed out, Chris, Boston winning tonight, running out of games. You've got to find a way to collect points every night, and you need this single point that's on the line here in overtime and potentially a shootout to keep pace.
Just checking Clark MacArthur's time tonight. He played 12:54 in his first game back, 13:46 against Florida, up over 16 minutes tonight.
He's getting that game timing back and comes at the right time as he delivers a big goal with just over 4 minutes left in the third to extend this game.
They start two forwards apiece. Detroit often uses 3 forwards. Mathot plays it to the side of the net. Red Wings have been good in overtime, 7-3. Not as good in a shootout where they're 3-9. Ottawa 4-6 in overtime, 5-6 in the shootout.
Chris, you can use 3 forwards when guys like Datsuk are in the lineup. Even Riley Sheahan, who's such a terrific skater, but go traditionally with the 2-2 here. Coach Mike Babcock chooses that route right now.
And Boston has won. Currently 4 points up. Ottawa trying to get within 3 with the game in hand. And again, Boston is here in Detroit on Thursday night. Glendening has trouble with it at center. Mark Stone, who's had more chances than maybe all the Red Wings combined tonight. Out there as Carlson heads into the Detroit zone. Erik Karlsson, pass broken up by Kronwall. And Abdelkader will defer to Kronwall as they start out. Check that, DeKeyser, and it is DeKeyser with the puck here. Kyle Quincy. Zetterberg sending it down into the Ottawa zone. Rempach after it against Abdelkader to the line. Held in by Detroit. Zetterberg along the boards. Advancing, and Ceci stops him there.
That's great work by Cody Ceci. Good stick on puck. Clear off to be strong on the boards on Henrik Zetterberg, who's strong on the puck himself. He was looking to create a lane to get to the net, and Ceci takes that away with the stick on puck move.
Doesn't want to be upstaged by his old 67's teammate here tonight.
No, and you look at the talent that they had rolling out of the 67s. Sean Monahan was kicking around on that team as well, and he's doing a terrific job in Calgary and going to have a great career.
Pajot and Ryan on the ice for the Senators. Offensive zone face-off. Joachim Anderson, who's been outstanding in that department tonight, he has carried the mail for Detroit as far as the face-off's concerned. Now Mathot to the red line, sends it in. Ryan streaks down that right side and finds it. Gets it to Pajot, a little drag move, but lost his footing. Knocked down by Zidlitzky. Brendan Smith lost it. Pajot's got it. Ryan lost his stick. He goes to the bench as Karlsson winds, and that's off a stick wide.
It's great work by Bobby Ryan to use that long stick to turn the puck over, create havoc in that offensive zone.
Oh, Zidlitzky nearly spun Nyquist. And an offside call, 2:50 left in overtime.
That's the danger of the Detroit Red Wings. Chris, you talked about the speedster forwards that they have. And Zidlitzky, such a terrific passer. He's got great vision from the back end, and that's what he's capable of. A little saucer pass, it almost drops it right on the stick of Nyquist, and Karlsson with a good read, he's able to cut that off, but that's what a guy like Zidlitzky's brought in for. Not only his experience, he's got a great shot on the power play, but he's terrific patience and vision from the back end.
Final game of March, and what a month it's been for the Senators. 10-3-2 coming into this game. Here comes Tatar, dangerous shot, blocked by Ceci. Off the boards and played out. Puck bounced on Stone, and he was unable to get untracked. It'll be Kronwall on the tape. Tatar with Glendening over the line. Tatar stops, shoots. Hammond turns out aside. Glendening takes his man to the boards, puck to the line, and now Ottawa's got it. Moving ahead to Turris. Turris across. Stone. Ceci going to the net, and a big defensive play by Quincy. Denying the pass, and now back the other way, Zetterberg. Good backtrack by Turris, and Zetterberg couldn't get a shot away.
That's great work by Kyle Turris to get underneath the stick, create havoc on that back check. Zetterberg gets no lane to the net because Turris is all over him.
A couple of good defensive plays at either end in that last sequence, and now Stone back in. Can't get it past Quincy, and Stone's going to check out and head to the bench. 90 seconds still available here in the overtime. Ken Holland in the building would like to see it 3-on-3 by now. And this has been good, but 3-on-3 would be terrific, wouldn't it?
It would be outstanding, and I'm a fan of that as well. I'm on record not loving the shootout and use it as a last resort, but with the skill in the league right now, put it to 3-on-3.
Here's Hoffman in, shot, and that's off a stick and up onto the screen. 65 seconds left. Good to see Hoffman back after that shot off the left ski.
Chris, you mentioned a couple sequences defensively. Turris is going to kick it wide for Stone. Stone tries a little curl and drag move right here. Quincy's going to get the right shoe out and break up the play. And then Kyle Turris, relentless on the back check. Underneath the stick, breaks the play up. And when you have that type of work from your centerman working back into the middle and having pressure on that back check, it allows the defender to stay up on the play and control the gap. And that's just good work by Kyle Turris.
Pajot had won 14 of 21 draws until that. Key Detroit Red Wing face-off win. Final minute of the overtime period. Ryan steals, Ryan in! Poke check by Mrazek. Great play by the goaltender after a good play by Bobby Ryan. Calling for a drop pass there, but the Red Wings not falling for that, but it's a 2-on-1. Ryan, Carlson, Bobby Ryan, Carlson couldn't reach it. What a chance that was to end it. And now the Red Wings have an odd man rush. Back the other way, Ottawa gets back and going to be called on the offside. Wow.
Bobby Ryan speeding off, looking up to the Jumbotron. Lifts the stick at the last second of the Kaiser, but heads up play by Mrazek with the fire poker as the Kaiser was pushing Ryan off on the angle, and then the 2-on-1 opportunity. And again, the Kaiser breaks it up as Ryan tries to thread the needle between the wickets to find Carlson on the back door.
Abdelkader and Zetterberg on the ice. Turris and Stone for Ottawa. 15 seconds left. What attack for Brendan Smith. He'll defer to Zetterberg. Up top, Zidlitsky, the veteran. Blocked by Stone. Stone reaching, Zidlitsky to an open side. Zetterberg fans, and we're going to run out of time, and the 5-minute sudden death portion headed to a shootout tonight in Detroit.
Great work by Mark Stone, and the last second to get in the lane on Zidlitsky. Now you go to a shootout and you get an opportunity with a guy like Bobby Ryan to enter into the mix where he's got 3 shootout winners. So nifty with the puck. What I love about what he does on the shootout is he moves the puck to the side. When it's to the side of your body, you have an opportunity to shoot or deep, and that's where it creates deception for a goaltender. Head up the whole way, controls the puck so well, and he's not shy to change his angle. So we'll see if he can be a difference maker here for the Ottawa Senators as they push hard to get that extra point to try and make up some ground on the Boston Bruins.
Peter Mrazek 2-1. We go back to the goaltending decision. Jimmy Howard 1-8 in shootouts. So in the goaltending shootout conversation, Mike Babcock's got his trump card.
He does have his trump card, and Mrazek's been a difference maker. I mean, I would argue this game is only here in a shootout situation because of the work of Mrazek this game, and Ottawa, I think, outchanced them and outplayed them.
Fans rise to their feet. Nyquist first to shoot. He has the goal in regulation time. Slip.
That's a nice move by Nyquist. Changes his angle, head up the whole way, fake to the backhand, and then opens Andrew Hammond up and just slides it easily between the wickets. Makes it look easy, but that's a skilled play by a very skilled player.
So Mika Zibanejad will try to answer for the Senators. And does. Or no, off the post. No, it's in.
It's in.
Excuse me.
That's his patented blocker shot. Zibanejad changes his angle. Almost a roll your wrist type of play. is you see Mrazek drop his right leg. He's cheating towards a glove save on a right-handed shot. Zibanejad goes blocker and ties the game up in this shootout.
So we go to the second shooter for Detroit. Thomas Tatar, their leading goal scorer.
It's a tough play to stop if you're a goaltender because of the pace. Tatar slows it down. Head up, takes what Hammond gives him. Hammond a little deep on that play as you see him about 1.5 feet in his blue paint. That opens up some of the lane, and he's able to be beat on that blocker side just above the right pad.
Kyle Turris taking more shootouts than any other Senator this year, 3 for 11. Answers back.
And wow. Well, Mrazek ends up in the net as Turris comes in with a high pace. Look at how far out Mrazek is. So he needs to control his gap and gets a good push back, but Turris able to beat him between the wickets, and Mrazek gets beat 5-hole.
Zidlinsky next to shoot, and Hammond come up with a big stop. He does! And suddenly, the Senators with a chance to win.
A good save by Andrew Hammond here as he reads Zidlinsky looking for that glove shot underneath the bar, and he's in the lane to make the save, and here it is on his stick.
Here he is. You've detailed the shootout deciding goals. Bobby Ryan trying to end it for the Senators. And it's off the toe of the stick into the corner. And we'll shoot on.
Tries to take it from forehand to backhand, and the last second it just rolls off his stick. Thought process is almost the same as Zidlinsky's, where he just tries to get it up over the glove and unable to control it.
Stephen Weiss 0 for 1 this year. Stopped by Hammond. And a second chance to win it in the shootout.
Weiss comes in with a ton of speed. He's just looking high glove the whole way, and Hammond still a little deep on the play, but he's able to get the glove in the lane.
Look who gets one more chance to find a way to beat Peter Mrazek. Mark Stone's been all over it tonight, trying to break through. Game winner, Mark Stone! And the Ottawa Senators stayed 3 back with a game in hand.
What a move here by Mark Stone, and it's really tough for a goaltender to defend that as a right-handed shot fakes the backhand play, and Mrazek bites on it, and Stone takes it forehand and jams it in the open net. You see how excited he is as he finally is able to burst his bubble, his personal bubble against Mrazek. Strong side, the fake right there, that's when Mrazek bites on it. That creates the lane, and the long reach, he's able to jam it in between the left post and the left pad. And the Senators pick up 2 crucial points that they needed in this game.
An enormous road comeback win to keep the playoff hopes alive. MacArthur with the equalizer with 4:02 to go. Finally breaking through against tonight's Molson first star, Peter Mrazek. MacArthur's goal set up overtime and then the shootout. Mark Stone terrific for 65 minutes plus tonight as he has the shootout deciding goal. What a month of March for the Ottawa Senators as they win their 11th 11-3-2 in the month of March.